and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann. This is the award-winning Fan Show. Thank you all for joining me on this Thursday afternoon or evening if you are in the East Coast time zone or even Central time zone. Probably anywhere but the West Coast, it is technically the evening to you because it is late afternoon here on the West Coast. It's still sunny though, and it stays sunny until about 7 o'clock. So maybe there's still daylight wherever you are and you're listening. So like I said, if we do Fan Show After Dark, it might not be dark anymore. But nonetheless, everyone is a fan of something, and we have something for every fan. And today, we have something for you Cedar Rapids River Kings fans. I thought that Arizona was the last team I had to check off the list as far as having a player from all 10 IFL teams, but it turns out no. I was supposed to have a member of the Cedar Rapids River Kings on after they got their first win, but he was not able to attend. He has since actually moved to a different team, not even within the IFL. But long story short, I thought they were checked off the list. They are not. So we're 8 weeks in, and we have finally covered all 10 teams on the show. So not bad. It hasn't had to come down to a team a week, right? And with the NAL starting up this weekend, that's going to mean even more chaos for the show. We might have to go to 2 guests a day. We might have to try to schedule one from one league on Tuesday and another on Thursday. I'd like to keep it balanced, but I do think that obviously since we've been given 7 weeks worth of IFL coverage strictly for the last 8 weeks, that we can move and do maybe a little bit more, kind of lean toward the NAL side of things to get them caught up. But don't forget, you can join in on the chat. I'm laughing because Adam has joined the chat right on time too. I tried to start a little late because he said he might be a little late, and he's typing in all caps right now, and it's funny. It's distracting, but it's very funny. So hello, Adam. Hello, those of you joining me on the Facebook Live. We'll start with a question like we've been doing while we get into headlines, something to ponder upon. And that one is 2 questions here, because this weekend, obviously, the first episode of the last season of Game of Thrones is going to happen. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, which I'm finding out that there's people out there that have yet to see an episode, and then my friend Blake Trimmer made the comment. He's like, T-minus 1 week until we start seeing I've never seen an episode of Game of Thrones posts. And he's absolutely right on that. So that's very funny, but also very true. A few people that I thought would have been devout fans haven't seen a single episode. So the thing that you will miss most about Game of Thrones once it is all said and done after this last season. That's question 1. If you can't answer that question because you've never seen it, well, then maybe you can answer this one. This question would be, when it comes to wrestling, if you're a fan of wrestling, which matters more to you, the quality of the match or who wins? Because it sparked some debate this week. We saw for the first time, I think, ever, in all honesty, the big 3 were all fan favorites that won, and typically that is a no-no for WWE, much like winning your retirement or your last match is a no-no for World Wrestling Entertainment. So which one matters more to you, match quality or who wins? Now, I'll admit, it is one of those things that it's a crowd pleaser. You feel better if the person you want to win wins. But keep in mind, Seth Rollins defeated Brock Lesnar in what was officially 2.5 minutes. It was technically probably more around like the 5 or 6 minute mark, but it was a quick match. And Goldberg, when he returned, made quick work of Kevin Owens to win his first Universal Championship during that whole storyline. So clearly there was not a lot of continuity or match quality, if you would even call it that. So your thoughts, match quality or who wins, and then what you'll miss most about Game of Thrones. Let's see, Adam's in here. Let's see. He's like, I like Mother Nature, or it's like Mother Nature left the room in a rage and then came back screaming, and another thing. That is probably one of the best quotes to describe weather that I've ever heard. Or in my case, an angry wife. And another thing. I love you, honey. Love you. Today's episode brought to you by Monster, because why not? Anyway, headlines though. Let's go ahead and get to those headlines, shall we? Shall we? Headlines. I am not entirely sure if you guys on the Facebook Live can hear the jingles that I play on Spreaker, so you may be able to hear them and I'm dancing in time to the rhythm of said jingle, or it may just look like I'm dancing to the music all by myself. So whatever the case is, I'm sorry for both. My wife is in on the chat and she loves me dearly. I love you too. I love you. Anyway, headlines brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises. They make great stuff like this. Stickers here. These shirts were ordered, and I'm holding up the robotics and tech logo for that division of the F.A.N show. Those shirts were ordered. They will be printed in time for my trip to the BattleBots tapings next week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But they can make those for you. They can do stickers, t-shirts, hats, beanies, polos, jackets, backdrops, tablecloths, table runners, anything that you need for advertising, promotional, or marketing purposes. They can help you out with that. So visit dynamiteenterprises.com or email Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com, and they can help customize your world. So the headlines really not a whole lot. We've got the draft coming up in a couple weeks, and draft prospects are starting to really ramp up their social media presence and push out their film, their highlights, every article that's been done about them. Good for those guys. I got a few. I would call them friends by now. I really would. I would consider them friends, buddies, really, that are draft hopefuls. Deshaunte Lloyd. And we've got Ron Latson, we've got Kevin Thompson, Cole Herdman, Steven Adams, a bunch of guys from CGS that I thought, these guys would be great additions to any NFL team. And then, of course, I've got my friends that are in the IFL, NAL, AFL now, and AFL camp going strong. They made the final 53, or not 53. They made the final, I think it's 25 for the NAL too. Roster cuts yesterday for the NAL. And then we have week 1 kicking off this weekend, which we'll go over those matchups in a little bit here. But I think the important thing to note in all of this is that, it sucks that the AAF folded. It really did. But the point is that there are other options for you out there if you don't get drafted and if you don't make it to the practice squad or the final cut if you get picked up in free agency. There's still chances for you. There's still hope for you. And I think what we learned from the AAF, if anything, is that talent goes beyond the college level. I'm still frustrated about that because I wonder how much the NCAA had to say in the AAF, because if the AAF is successful, what does that mean for the NCAA? What does that mean for them and their cash cow that is telling us, the viewers and consumers and fans and the NFL, who the next star is going to be? If you have a farm league or a developmental league that if somebody isn't what they say they are, and then they get sent to that league while somebody else in that league starts to do really well, and the NCAA didn't say anything about that person, like, what does that do for their reputation? It's something that hasn't really been talked about, but I'm very, very curious about to see. So anyway, let's see here. Adam says, for me, there are two things that make good wrestling: quality of matches and quality storyline. They don't have to be 5-star every time. No, they don't. They do not need to be 5-star every time. If there's a legitimate rivalry or if there has been great storytelling there, then the match is usually the icing on the cake, in all honesty. And I have seen some great storylines conclude with mediocre matches. It didn't take anything away from the storyline, but it was just the storyline was what made the match better than it actually was. If you were to watch it from a third-party perspective, you'd be like, that match I've seen better matches. You have, but was it something that it was like a story told like that? On the flip side, I've seen matches that have told entire stories better than storylines ever could. And you see a lot of that in NXT. They have to tell their stories in the ring. Let's see here. My wife says I'm all on my own. Oh, that's sad. I love her. I said I loved her on the show. That should mean something, shouldn't it? Anyway, for those of you that watch Game of Thrones, I think, and I posted this on Facebook, I'm going to miss the dialogue. I think there's so many great lines and moments between characters. And I don't know how much has come from the book, because everybody's just like, oh, they're, the script is the book, but it can't be, because you can't do, like, in my mind, in a book, you're telling a story, and you can tell it from different angles, but you can't really account for what would be the camera is on this character at this time instead of this character. Like, in the season finale for the most recent one, when they were in the dragon pit, they were talking about the complexity of shooting that scene, which lasted all of probably 10 to 15 minutes. And it was, you had 10 of the most major characters all in one scene, all in one room. And you had to make sure that you had all cameras going, because there was so many different subtle interactions happening with each set of characters. And they're absolutely right. And that's been one of the most beautiful things about how this show has been put together, and that I'll miss the most, is because I feel like the subtleties and the less is more is something that's been a little lost on some major pop culture cinema and television. And they got it right. They nailed it. Absolutely. So I will miss that a lot. Let's see here. Another comment says, I just figure you're playing No Sleep Till Brooklyn on your spring. Sometimes. Or all the small things. Anyway. So, this week, week 8 in the IFL, we will talk about that one first. Let's see what we've got here in store for us, week 8 of the IFL. So, on the 13th, which is, let's see, tomorrow is the 12th. So Saturday the 13th, we have one game. It is the Nebraska Danger visiting the Green Bay Blizzard. This is it's really a need. It's a must-win more for the Danger than the Blizzard, because they're at 500. A win would put them over. Green Bay would still be over 500 with a loss. And, of course, with Nebraska, a loss would mean that they're below 500, and they'd have to go and find themselves another win in order to get back over that hump, or I guess right even. But for Green Bay, this game is about, you've beat the same team 2 weeks in a row, and they're a team that's lingering right around that 500 mark as well in Quad City Steamwheelers. And they're a team that a lot of people thought were going to be competitive. I believe they have been competitive, but a lot of people think that maybe because the last 2 games have been so close, that luck has been on Green Bay's side. And so I think that they're going to want this win for the simple fact to maybe silence a few doubters. A win would put them at 5-2, a tremendous record. They've 5 games, I think, is as many as they've won in the last 2 seasons combined. So there's that to check off the list. A huge game for both teams, nonetheless, and I'm very excited for this. Green Bay has been probably my pick for the game of the week the last 3 weeks now. I think this one will be a really good one. And again, the matchup to watch is going to be that Nebraska Danger offense against that Green Bay Blizzard defense. But the match that will dictate the winner and loser is going to be if the Danger's defense can stop what has become a very potent Green Bay offense. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Sunday we have 3 matchups. We have the Iowa Barnstormers visiting the Bismarck Bucks, and this is the first time that these two have met this season. And then we have also the Arizona Rattlers for their second match against new rivals, the Tucson Sugar Skulls. This one will take place in Tucson. The last one was in Arizona. And then finally, we have the Cedar Rapids River Kings taking on the San Diego Strike Force. Those teams are looking to get another one in the win column. Of course, San Diego looking to get its first one in the win column. Bismarck looking to do that too, a bit of a taller task against Iowa. But I mentioned yesterday, if there is such a thing as a trap game in the IFL, this would be it. Let's see here. We have another comment from Adam. Says, on the plus side, I was able to make an Avengers in-game meme in the AAF. Yes, the Avenge the Fallen. I thought that was really funny. He said, once Game of Thrones ends, you can, let's see, you can join me in the Outlander fan base. I don't know what that is. Maybe I've heard of it. I don't know. You'll have to explain that to me later on. But anyway, so we've got great matches for you in the Indoor Football League this weekend. And, of course, the Saturday one is at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, 7 Central Time. Or wait, wow, I really got that one wrong. So 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, 7 Central. And then we have the 3 games are all, well, no, I take that back. Iowa and Bismarck, that one's going to start at 3 Eastern, and that's noon Pacific, 2 Central Time for the Iowa Barnstormers and the Bismarck Bucks. Again, that is Sunday the 14th. And then the other 2 games will be, let's see, Arizona starts 3 hours after that, and that will be at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, 5 Central. And then Cedar Rapids and the San Diego Strike Force will be at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, 7 Central time. I'm getting better at it. And that will conclude your Week 8 for the IFL matchups. Of course, we've got Marquel Wade coming up in a little bit. That should be a lot of time. That should be a good time. It should be a lot of fun. And let's see here. So for the NAL, the National Arena League, we went over the games briefly last night. And let's go ahead and bring that back up right now. NationalArenaLeague.com. I apologize that I don't have it brought up right now. But I'm getting used to doing everything on the laptop right now. It's been quite an adjustment period. And don't forget, while you're listening right now, or watching, I should say, on Facebook Live, you can also be listening live on Spreaker.com. When the interview portion of the program for Marquel Wade comes up, you will want to go ahead and switch over to that link, wherever it may be located, Spreaker.com/user/The F.A.N Show, to enjoy the remainder of the episode, including that interview. So National Arena League Week 1, we will see the expansion New York Streets taking on the Jacksonville Sharks. That's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, so 6 Central time is how that one works out. Jacksonville Sharks, obviously, they want to get back into championship form. They certainly look to do so. They got a great quarterback. He was the quarterback for Maine last year, which is no longer a team, but Jonathan Bain, great guy. Then we have the reigning champion, Carolina Cobras. They start their season out on the road. Talked to Coach Billy back last night. Another great episode. They will go on the road to Boston to take on the Massachusetts Pirates. And that, again, is at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, or 6 Central time. And then finally, the last one, for Week 1, we'll see the Columbus Lions, who was in last year's championship and the championship before that. We'll take on the, not expansion, but welcomed back, Orlando Predators on a bit of a hiatus, and they've got a new logo, a new look, a new squad. Robert Brown and Rob Brown are on that squad, so they're going to be very competitive, I believe. Could be a sleeper team, and that is at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, 6:30 Central. And really, the game to watch, I think, will probably end up being the Columbus Lions and the Orlando Predators. Everybody will be tuning into that Carolina-Massachusetts game. And then I think because New York is an expansion team, they're probably going to go with the seasoned vet being the Jacksonville Sharks, because they're, to say the least, that they're seasoned veterans. But that is your Week 1 in the NAL. I'm not going to do predictions for those guys either, just because I'm going to try to do the same thing I've been doing for the IFL with the NAL. Top 10 plays, players of the week, power rankings, and things like that. So I want to try to call it down the middle, be as biased as possible. So I'm not going to pick winners and losers. It's just, I mean, we do have our favorites, right? Players, teams, coaches, whatever, and we try to follow them around wherever they go. But I do think it's funny, though, when you listen to a game, let's say the Bengals are on Sunday Night Football. You have Chris Collinsworth there, right? And he tends to side with the Bengals a lot. And I wish he would just own up to it. He says that he's not biased, but you can hear it in his voice. He's like, well, my Bengals, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, I think it would be more fun if when there's a duo of broadcasters for a game, if they each picked a team before the game started and they called it that way. I think it'd be fun as hell. It's kind of what they do in WWE. You have the play-by-play guy who tries to be neutral, but he's also kind of on the side of the face, right? And then you have the color guy who is not doing play-by-play, not down the middle. He's kind of on the side of the heel. But they've since added a third, I guess, another color, and they're more of the face color commentator. Too many chefs in the kitchen. That's, I think, 2, and that's it. 2 and you're through. Let's see here. Adam has picks for me. Do you now? He likes Carolina. Let's see here. And he also likes them to win the championship. So apparently they can blame him if they lose, and he jinxes them. Let's see. And then, hockey playoffs. Hockey playoffs have begun. 16 teams. I believe the Blues won over the Vegas Knights, if I recall correctly. I think Dirk Nowitzki from the NBA, he has retired. And then, of course, Dwayne Wade. Is he doing a farewell tour in the NBA? Is that what's happening? I don't keep up with basketball enough to know, but I've seen a lot of Dwayne Wade stuff going on. So I imagine it's either his last season or his last playoff run, so it's his farewell tour. Nonetheless, though, Dirk Nowitzki, you don't have to watch basketball to know who he was and what impact he had on basketball. Phenomenal player. Really like a Larry Bird of our generation. We'll probably won't see another for quite some time, but he was tremendous. Really, really well. He was a NBA Finals MVP. He was a champion, obviously, and he was a numerous time All-NBA and All-Star selection. So that was, tip of the cap to his great career. BattleBots, they've announced the first round of tapings matchups. I saw on the Facebook Live, Hypershock and Valkyrie are one of the matchups. Minotaur and Whiplash are another one of the matchups. Those should be great ones. I'm very excited to see this all play out. I'm very excited to go down and visit and see it firsthand for myself. Count down the days till I'm in Long Beach for that. And then, let's see, that really about sums it up. Pop culture, we talked about Game of Thrones, the final season, so the series finale, begins this Sunday. I was trying to think of the right phrasing for that. And good on them. This is how you need to do it. On the HBO, on the Facebook page, they're doing a lot of behind-the-scenes actors, their take on the series so far. And it's been really, really good stuff. Hello, James. James has joined us on the Facebook chat. And let's see here. Adam says, God, I feel old remembering that. Yeah, there is a Fraggle Rack. Fraggle Rack? Wow. Okay, there's a Fraggle Rock pop vinyl behind me. It is the newest addition to the Fan Cave studio. And this is, you can't pass this guy up. It's a Boober and Doozer Funko Pop. Yes. I love Fraggle Rock. I love a lot of great things from certain generations that are amazing. And Fraggle Rock is one of them. There's nothing wrong with Fraggle Rock. In fact, we should devote a pop culture day talking about the impact and influence of the great Fraggle Rock. I think that would be fantastic. We might do that. We might have to have a pop culture session about that. Yeah, I think we will. We'll talk about Fraggle Rock and how awesome it was. But yes, I have a Boober and Doozer pop vinyl, and it is made a great addition to the Fan Cave studio. So thank you for noticing. Yes, it is right there. I can't believe I said Fraggle Rack. Maybe there was a parody of sorts that was called that. Oh, God, that would ruin your childhood, wouldn't it? Okay. I think that about does it. Yeah, we're at the 23-minute mark. I want to try to do these 15 to 20 minutes. So thank you all for joining me on the Facebook Live chat here, as well as if you're going to join me on the Spreaker chat, but that is where you can catch the remainder of the episode, my interview with the outstanding Special Teams Player of the Week, Marquel Wade of the Cedar Rapids River Kings. And thank you all for tuning in. We'll have a whole lot to talk about on Tuesday for our first episode back from a great weekend. And again, you can catch us every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, live, Facebook Live, facebook.com/FanShowOfficial. That's for the first portion of the show, about 15 to 20 minutes of the program. And then the whole program and the remainder is, of course, on Spreaker.com. Spreaker.com/user/TheFanShow. And if you're a social media tycoon, then you can, or junkie, you can join us. Follow the Fan Show on Twitter @FanShowOfficial. Like us on Facebook. Already gave you that link. And then, of course, you can follow the Instagram. That's always a fun follow, right? And that is The Fan Show. And if you can't listen or watch live, you can always subscribe. And that is iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and yes, of course, Spreaker.com. So you got 5 flavors to choose from. One's got to be at least a little to your liking, right? Let's see here. Oh, yes. James commented, get the leg on sometime. As we get closer to the AFL season and the final rosters have been announced, we will be getting AFL players on here, ones that I know. And then hopefully we can expand from that. I would love to do some coverage for the AFL this season. I don't know how I would because I don't know how their games are broadcast. I've never followed the AFL closely before. They've always been the enemy, right? The AFL's always been the enemy. But it looks like they're doing something different now. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm a skeptic when it comes to things like that. Typically, I'm an optimist, but I'm a skeptic for the AFL. But anyway, okay. I've talked too long. We're now at the 25-minute mark. All right. So switch over to Spreaker.com. You can hear my great conversation with Marquel Wade. So I bid you adieu until next week. And, of course, we're going to continue this conversation on Spreaker.com right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now is the Fan Show Outstanding Special Teams Player of the Week, and that is Cedar Rapids' own Marquel Wade. How you doing, Mr. Wade? Welcome to the show.
How you doing today? I'm doing good.
I am doing good as well. Oh, excuse me. But you had an outstanding week on special teams, and I gotta say, I'm sorry that it was a losing effort on your guys' part as a whole, but man, you did an incredible job. You even got a nod from Coach Dixie Wooten of the Iowa Barnstormers this week, and he doesn't give out compliments lightly. So how you feeling? How's morale been otherwise around Cedar Rapids? You guys obviously going into San Diego this weekend, looking to get another win on the board. But how have things been for you this season, life in Cedar Rapids for you?
Oh, it's been a turnaround. It's been a big turnaround, especially from the last season. Even though we ain't getting the wins and things, but in the community and everything around in Cedar Rapids, it's been going well in my favor. So I've been liking what we've been doing and all this, and we just looking towards this new week and trying to get this win against San Diego this week.
Now, for you guys, obviously you had a rebrand. There's a few new faces, and then, of course, there's a familiar face back as head coach Mark Stout returned to Cedar Rapids. So how would you say this season has been as far as getting back into the fold of things? Because clearly each season is a new season, but you guys have a guy who knows the area, who knows the fans, knows the community. So how has that been as far as this journey for you in 2019?
Oh, in this journey, it's been good because he's been letting us know the ins and outs of the history of when he's been here and the things of when they was winning and when they was on and off the field and stuff like that. So yeah, he's been telling us a lot about what we need to know and what we shouldn't be at and things like that. So he's been helping us out about the keeping us away from any bad things going on in the city.
Yeah, exactly. Staying out of trouble is probably the most important thing, especially when you have, like 4 bye weeks in a season and you guys may not all be able to go back home. Where is back home for you?
Oh, back home for me is Jacksonville, Florida.
Ah, I see. Sunny to snowy, but at least it's springtime
Yeah.
now, so you guys don't have to worry too much more about that. How long have you been in indoor ball and playing ball altogether?
Well, I've been playing indoor ball for like three and a half years. To be honest, 3 years. 1 year I got hurt, so I'm gonna say 3 years.
Okay, is this your first year with Cedar Rapids? I'm trying to remember my short-term history here.
Nah, this is my second year with Cedar Rapids. I was with them last year.
Gotcha. And what's been the, obviously you guys got rebranded. You're now the River Kings. You were the Titans. What's been the biggest change for you from 1 year to the next in Cedar Rapids?
Just the chemistry with the team, to be honest, because it's not the same team as last year. So it's like it's a whole new. It's like it's a lot of rookies and then not that many vets. So I'm like part of one of the vets. So it's like we just got to get a chemistry. So that's the real big difference from last year.
I didn't get a chance to watch the games in real time like I normally do this last weekend. So I'm at home. I've got 3 screens going with 3 different games. And you guys I put up on the big TV because Iowa, you guys both, Cedar Rapids and the Barnstormers, do great broadcasts. So I had that one up on the TV, and I'm watching this. And I'm going through 3 quarters. Now, I know what the final score is. I know what the outcome is. But I'm watching this. I'm like, how did Iowa win this thing? And I'm looking, and, of course, you had the 2 kick returns for touchdowns. You had a phenomenal performance the whole game, really. But, you came up short. And as a player, I'm sure that there's a moment or a series of moments that stand out to you. But in your mind, like, 1, what went wrong? And 2, how do you fix that going into the next week? Because you come so close and then the fall short. I imagine mentality and morale is something that you kind of have to, be tougher than. But in your mind, what happened and how do you fix that moving forward?
Well, I want to say this. I feel like the thing that hindered us the most was after we scored, we made stupid penalties on celebration, like spiking the ball and things like that. I want to say that's what the thing that hindered us. We had the game, and we just ain't capitalize on the things that we need to, and the things that we need to do was on the special team part as giving them bad coverage. So when we didn't get a chance to really do that because our penalties after the celebration giving them 15 yards. So that was a little thing that hindered us. But overall, I feel like we played a good game because we've been playing nothing but the top teams in the indoor league. So I feel like we played a good game. We just got some things that we got to capitalize on. And we know that coming in the next week, we need to know that after the game, we're away, so we can't be spiking the ball, giving the ball to the fans or anything like that. So we just need to know that when we on the road, it's nothing but a business trip.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys will go on the road and face San Diego, who, they got embarrassed last week. They've been a competitive team. They've scored, for all but one game, they've scored at least 40 points. And then Arizona goes and scores an all-time team high on them with 91. And so you guys are going to go to their house. They're going to be upset. They're still winless. They're going to look to get one in the win column. You guys are looking to get another in the win column and keep the season alive. How tough is it to face an opponent like that on the road?
We can't take nobody lightly, to be honest. Even though that we feel like overall we have a better team, we can't take nobody lightly coming in any game. So I feel like we going in the game feeling like this is another team that we have to place on our schedule that's probably thinking they better than us, and we have to go in there and show that we can compete, and we're going to come out with this victory.
You guys have certainly played tough, and I don't think people give you enough credit, to be quite honestly, because I saw your schedule when it came out, and I've seen how your schedule has played out. You guys opened the season against Sioux Falls, and that was a close contest with a walk-off field goal. I mean, how many times do we see that in this league? You guys have played Arizona. You've played Iowa twice. I mean, I don't think that there's a team that has had a tougher schedule than you guys have, and you guys have hung in there. You really have, and I think that speaks volumes to not only your coaching but your players and being able to stick together for 4 quarters at a time, knowing that each opponent that you've played really has been in a championship in the last 2 years. So props to you guys for being so tough, really. I think it's great. What's been the message moving forward now that we're about, we're at the sweet spot in the season, right? We've kind of separated the good from the not so good, but there's a few teams on the cusp or have been in there that their schedule might be getting a little better, like your guys's, and you guys could maybe make this thing turn around. So what's been the message like in the locker room now?
That's been the message, the whole thing in the locker room. Ever since after this Iowa game, that's what Coach been putting in our head, like, now is the time to show that we can turn around and make a look at the playoffs. All we have to do is just win out, and we got a good chance of winning, going to the playoffs, getting that next seed or whatever seed we can get to be in the playoffs. Because our schedule looking real nice because I think we come back and play Quad City right after this one, or Bismarck or somebody. So we're gonna be looking to get all these victories coming into these next last of the schedule.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's going to be a dogfight with some of those teams that right now are at the bottom because they don't want to be at the bottom anymore. You only have 2 teams that are winless, and you only have 2 teams that have yet to lose, and that could all change at a moment's notice. So I think that you guys are definitely on the up and up. What do you think of quarterback Kurt Palandek? What do you think of your guy back there?
I like him. It just, he's young. This is new to him.
Yeah.
So he got to trust his throws. He just can't. He got to have that confidence, have that swag at the quarterback, take over.
Do you think the quarterback needs to have the most swagger, or is it only second to kick returners and wide receivers?
I think the quarterback should take. I feel like the quarterback should have a little swag. Only reason because this is his team. To be honest. So I feel like he should have some swag, a little order, a little something to him.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you on that. So one thing I wanted to ask, and you can be totally honest with me. So obviously, I saw your performance. I thought it was outstanding. I gave you my special teams player award, and the league thought so as well, and that's good. On that kick return where you fumbled, what went through your mind the second that ball came out? Like, did you even think you had a chance at getting it back, and then, of course, on top of that, scoring once you did?
Nah, to be honest, it was like it all rolled into my momentum. Like I tried to truck the kicker, and the ball just slipped. And as soon as I seen the ball slip, it bounced right back into my hand. It was like a straight in momentum.
it was one of the best plays I've seen. It was I call it accidental awesomeness when things like that happen. There was the Brandon Clark touchdown off the tip pass that went right to him, like they drew the play, that way. And same with you on your kick return. But yeah, man, you've been on my radar a few times. I think you're a very special talent there in Cedar Rapids, and you guys have a lot of players there. Drake White has done phenomenal the last couple of weeks. Where did this guy come from? And just how good is he, like, from a peer-to-peer perspective that you have there in the locker room with him?
I like Drake because he got a motor on him. He have a motor, like his work ethic, like he's non-stop. He's like Nate Chavis in our practice and stuff. Like they non-stop. They motors, like they keep going. Like after plays, like when they catch catches and stuff like that, they sprinting down the field. I like him because he always try to keep the linemen up, the linebacker, everybody. He try to keep everybody up. I like Drake. He came in and made a name for himself.
Yeah, I think he's going to continue to do that. You guys really have some stars there on your team, and I think you guys will continue to thrive given the opportunities, of course, and you'll have an opportunity this weekend as you guys go on the road to San Diego, and it's not going to be easy, and I don't think that
that's another dogfight.
Yeah, I don't think that it should be. Both of you guys want so desperately to win, and for you guys, you want to make sure that people don't think that last week was a fluke against Iowa. Iowa's the champs, and they're going to be the champs until we crown either them again or a new one. But you guys hung in there with the best, and now you're going to go on the road and look to fix those mistakes. So if we, exclude penalties and mental errors, what does Cedar Rapids need to do to win this weekend in San Diego, in your mind?
In my mind, to win this game, we stay consistent. Our defense play like they played last week, and we just stay play balls out. That's all. To be honest, I don't got no other words to say about that. We just gonna come out there and play our game.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing this game. I'll be watching you and, of course, everybody else. But congratulations on the incredible performance. There were more kick returns for touchdowns than there were successfully converted field goal attempts. Yes, so, it's not just the kicker on special teams. It's all you guys. And it was certainly a special performance. So, hey, man, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. It's been a real treat to get to talk to you.
Yes, sir. I appreciate having me on.
Absolutely, man. You take care and good luck this weekend.
You too. Appreciate it.
And once again, a big thank you and shout out to Marquel Wade for making an appearance on the show this week. I love welcoming the outstanding player of either the offense, defense, or special teams on the show just because I think it's a great moment for them. You don't know if these guys are ever going to get it again. DeQuan Neal, as of right now, is not only the only two-time outstanding player of the week. He's the only back-to-back. I guess I should have said that the other way around. He's not only the first back-to-back outstanding player of the week. He's also the first to ever do it 2 times. So you never know. And we're going on 8 weeks in, and that's the only time that's happened. So there's a lot of history being made on the Fan Show. Granted, this is the first year that we've ever had outstanding players of the week and month now. Of any kind. I'm not just saying that we picked one from offense, defense, or special teams, one to rule them all last year. We didn't even do it last year. We did power rankings and player and coach interviews, and that was pretty much it. So Fan Show's a lot more hands-on this year, and I wanted to do that for you guys, the fans, because, those of you that know me know that it all started with the Indoor Football League. Indoor football is where the heart is for me here, and I love covering BattleBots. I love getting the chance to go to those events, to Comic-Cons, to games and events, College Gridiron Showcase and things like that. But, my heart will always be with providing you guys the absolute best indoor football and National Arena League coverage that I can. And I hope that I have done that. So I'd like to thank you all for tuning in once again. Thank you to Marquel Wade. Don't forget, you can follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Fan Show Official, The Fan Show, and Facebook.com/Fan Show Official. Stay up to date. Stay in the loop. That way you never miss a beat. Facebook is the primary source of a lot of our content, both visually and audio, as far as that's where you're going to see the top 10 plays of the week and the Kickers Need Love Too moment of the week, one of our favorite segments that we do each week here on the Fan Show. And then, of course, Instagram, you can see all those as well. And then the Twitter, that's where I like to share my thoughts and, 280 characters or less. And if you can't listen live, please subscribe. iTunes, and give us a review if you do the iTunes thing. That would be much appreciated. SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and then, of course, Spreaker.com. So where there's a will, there's a way, and chances are there's a platform that you are already using for your podcasting needs. And why not add the Fan Show to that? Because it's not official unless it's Fan Show official. So don't be that guy. Be that guy that listens to the Fan Show each and every week 3 times at that. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. So ladies and gentlemen, one more time, big thank you. Until next time, we will be back Tuesday with an all-new episode. We will be back next week with all new guests and episodes. It's the last week before my trip to Long Beach for the BattleBots taping, so I'll have plenty to talk about going into that, and then when I get back from that. So next week's a big one, and then really April is just chaos. It's all chaos. So, till next time, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks!
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.